Hello, it's Digital DJ Tips, and today this is the new Traktor Kontrol X1 Mk3 controller. So we are going to talk about what it's for, because we published a news piece and we spoke about this on the website when it came out a week or two ago, and there's also an excellent talk-through video of this made by Native Instruments themselves. It's really good on YouTube, so I'm not going to just repeat that information again. Rather, we're going to talk through the questions we've been asked about this unit. I mean, it doesn't look like a normal DJ controller, right? It doesn't look like this kind of DJ gear where you've got your decks and everything, and it certainly doesn't look like a standard DJ controller. I'm sure I've got something similar down here that I can hold up. It's not a Traktor one, but you know what I mean. It hasn't got two jog wheels, it hasn't got a mixer. It's a sober looking little black box with no jog wheels on it and no obvious use case if you're not a DJ that knows what this is all about. If you are a DJ that knows what this is all about, if you've used the Traktor Kontrol X1 Mk1 or Mk2, then you're going to love this for sure. If you've used the Zone K2 from Allen & Heath, which is the closest competitor to this, I think, even though it's about 10 years old, then you're going to love this, although there is a big difference, which we'll get onto. But a lot of people have been saying to us, hey, what's it for? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But this is our Thursday live show. If you're watching the replay, this is a recording of a live show that you're watching. We're here in the studios, but more importantly, I've got you guys and girls up here on my screen, commenting live as we go along. Indeed, here you are down the right-hand side here. So this is why we are able to do things like ask what you want to know about this and answer it live on the show. It's why it's better than watching just a pre-record. However, that said, if you wanted to join us live and you're watching the recording, it's very simple. Just join Digital DJ Tips. As soon as you're on our list, we can let you know when we go live with these things. We do 2 of these a week. Head over to the Digital DJ Tips website, click the join button at the and fill in your email address here. Not only will you then know when we go live with this kind of stuff, but you'll get a copy of our book, the #1 selling book on Amazon on how to DJ, because of course we are the world's biggest DJ school. So we kind of know how to teach you. So if you would like a copy of our book and you want to become our latest member, head over there and do that. Right, let's do it. Let's talk about this here. Right, so the idea about this is it's a modular DJ controller. It's a part of a DJ setup. So I have rather cheekily, because I don't make it anymore, brought this little unit here, which is a Traktor Audio 2 4-out audio interface. You plug this into your computer, or as you're about to find out, you can actually plug it directly into this, which gives you headphones and a main audio output, which you can then plug off to your speakers. And the combination of that and that gives you all the audio and MIDI control that you need to DJ with Traktor software on your laptop. So the unit here is modular. It needs one of these. It needs an audio interface. Like I say, they don't make this anymore, but guess what? If you're DJing on a club system and you're using this to plug into your laptop in the DJ booth in order to control all the stuff in Traktor that you can't easily control from the club's mixer and so on, then that club mixer has got an audio interface built in. This is a Traktor, a Pioneer DJ MA9 mixer I've got in the background. It's got an audio interface. Just use that one. Or if you're using a DVS system, then the DVS system will have an audio interface as well. So the idea is that you're putting this in as part of a bigger DJ setup. It is purely a MIDI controller. It doesn't have any audio in, any audio out and that stuff. However, that said, has got something that is new on this version, which is it's got a USB hub. So you plug this into your laptop using the supplied cable. Now you've got 3 extra USB sockets on the back here, and that's what this power socket is for. Because while this can take its power quite happily from the DJ laptop that's running your software, as soon as you start plugging in extra USB devices, it's much better to have it powered up, which is what this power socket is for here. And they provide you with a power cable there as well to plug that in, which is why I said, you know, you can plug in, if you've got an audio interface, plug that directly into the back of this. And you could also plug a sampler or a machiner or anything else you're using as part of your DJ setup into there. It just saves having more than one cable heading off to your laptop. That's the only reason that they've done that, but it's a good reason, and it's nice to see that. It's one of the changes. Let's talk through the changes. For those of you that are used to this idea, let's just talk through what the changes are on this unit compared to previous units, the X1 Mk1 and Mk2. Well, they've dropped the control name. They used to be called the Traktor Kontrol X1 and the Traktor Kontrol whatever, but now it's just Traktor. So Traktor X1 Mk3 is its official name. So the changes, it's got lighting. I'm sorry I haven't got this plugged in to show you, but it's got lighting on the bottom. It's got LED lights on the bottom. And these are not just to make it look pretty, they're also to give you some feedback. So in Traktor, when you set a loop in the software, it goes green on the waveform. When you set a loop on here, on the left deck or the right deck, it goes green on the bottom of the unit. So you can see it's gone green. When the sync slips out, it goes red on the side that slipped out. When you're reaching the end of a track, it flashes on the side where the track's ending. So it is useful, the feedback it's got there as well from the lights on the bottom. So the lights are a new thing, the hub is a new thing, we've already talked about that. It's also got screens. Now the screens are actually really useful. You'll see them in the video that I talked about earlier. The screens will give you feedback that saves you looking at the screen of your laptop. Effectively, it means that unless you're choosing a track to play next, when you will be looking at your laptop, although you now get 2 encoders for selecting left and right deck, so you don't have to use the 1 encoder for loading tracks. That was a bit of feedback that Native Instruments got from its audience, that they wanted separate encoders again, so they're there now. So the screens will give you everything apart from choosing your next track. It won't tell you, you can't scroll through your library on a tiny screen like this, but it'll tell you the name of the track, how far through the track you are, time elapsed, time left. There's a progress meter, also how long the loop is set for, and also when you start moving the loop encoders and stuff, it only shows you that much bigger. So the screens are really nice the way they've done that. There's another 3 at the top as well. The screens at the top here will tell you about the effects mainly, although they are also used in a mixer mode, which we'll talk about next, because this now has a mixer mode. So again, this isn't designed to be a mixer, it's designed to control the transport, the selection, the looping, and the effects on Traktor. This big section at the top is all about the effects. You can control all 4 Traktor effects engines and all 4 parameters on any chosen effect, or you can control the effects all individually if you've got that version of it set with feedback up here. Traktor is massive on effects, right? So it was going to do that properly. And they've made this better. They've actually put more buttons down the bottom here as well, where you've got your play and your sync and your track skip and your cue points and so on. But the effects are a really big part of Traktor. That said, what people were doing with this was saying, you know what? I don't want to go and use a club mixer. I don't want to have to carry around extra decks with me and stuff. I'm quite happy DJing my electronic music. Let's face it, Traktor is an electronic music platform. I'm happy DJing my electronic music with Traktor. I'd do it on the keyboard if I had to, but you know, one of these would be good because it means I can control things a little bit more easily. For that kind of DJ with just one little wire from here to there and maybe a small audio interface and so on, being able to switch this into mixer mode is actually really useful. And so there were mappings out there made by third parties. Our friends over at DJ Tech Tools were always big on this. You can always download mappings from their mapping section to install in your version of Traktor software and run on this. And then this section here, instead of controlling the effects, it would control your mixer. So volume, low, mid, high, right deck, left deck, kills, headphones on, off. This is now all mapped properly inside here. Tap of a button at the top, the screens will help you with it, and now you're in mixer mode. So the mixer mode is now built in. I think that's really, really nice that they've done that. It brings it kind of bang up to date, and it does show that they're listening to the people who use these things. So this kind of brings me on to who this is and isn't for, really, because firstly, it's only for you if you're a Traktor user, really, although I'm pretty sure you could happily map this. I'm sure Virtual DJ will have a go at mapping it, including the screens. If you're not that worried about the screens, I'm pretty sure you could map it as a MIDI controller to other software. But look, it's for Traktor users, right? If you're an existing X1 Mark 1 or Mark 2 user, you're probably looking at this thinking, I really want one. It is not a direct replacement if you are one of the Traktor DJs that's using the Zone K2. And I had a Zone K2 knocking around. Oh, there it is. I've spotted it. Let me run off camera and grab it. I couldn't see it before we went live. Right, so this is good. This is a Zone K2. I'm really glad I found that because I wanted to show you the two side by side. So the Zone K2 is this has got a beat port overlay on it here, but it's just an overlay. You don't have to look at this. It's for controlling beat ports in browser DJ software, but that's something different. A lot of Traktor DJs have been mapping these so that they can control Traktor's effects and transport and mix and so on using a modular controller like this. And the reason they've been doing it is that unlike Traktor X1 here, this has got an audio interface built in. One on the front and one on the back in order to control audio. So this, you can DJ with headphones and speakers and everything plugged in without having to have any kind of extra audio interface. Again, this is a lovely interface. I wish they still made this, the Audio 2. It would work fine with this. Any 4-out audio interface will work fine with this. However, you do need that extra piece of equipment. Not with this, right? So a lot of DJs use this with Traktor. This here doesn't have that audio interface, so it's not going to replace this for users who use this. But if you're prepared to use an extra audio interface with this one, you do get a lot of extra stuff. Much tighter mapping, screens, the lighting, and so on. This is basically designed for Traktor in a way that this isn't. So while that's not a direct replacement, and a lot of DJs are using this with Traktor in our experience. But that said, this here has got a lot of advantages over this one. Let me actually, so let's just get back to the main point of what I'm saying here. Who would use this? It's Traktor users who love the idea of having a small modular controller to give them really deep control over Traktor in the booth, and who aren't bothered about having the interface built in which case the K2 might arguably be a better choice, or who've got an audio interface because it's built into their DVS box or their mixer or whatever. I do want to show you, because they haven't only changed the look and feel and put screens on and just basically made this cool. They've also changed the software. Now again, this is a live show, and as we were going live, I was getting the software up to show you, and it kind of hung on the laptop. I didn't have time to fix it. However, it doesn't matter because I've got the screenshots that we've used in our review here to show you the important things that I wanted to show you. So the first thing I wanted to show you was in Traktor's settings, you now have this screen here, which shows you the X1 Mk3 main mappings that you can do. So here you can change what the browse encoders do, the loop encoders. You can change the number buttons, the nudge buttons, the displays and global stuff. And as you can see here, we are remapping this. You've got hot cues, deleting hot cues, loops, absolute and real mode if you want to use it for DVS. All the main areas can be remapped here with a very simple new mapping page, which is really nice because Traktor's mapping, I'm sure if you've ever tried to map it, is not the best. Certainly, I'm saying that wrong. It is the best, it's just bloody hard to map. The other screen is this one here, which lets you remap all the lighting on the unit. So you can change the overall look and feel of it. You can say whether you want various warnings on or off, and you can also change individual buttons as well. So this is really nice. You know, they have thought about adding more than just a new piece of hardware to their ecosystem and giving you lots of ways of mapping and remapping it as well. We actually got 2 new pieces of hardware. I've been away for the summer. It's now September, first week in September. We're now back in the studio. I came back to lots of bits of clever hardware and software to look at. But the 2 main ones were this and I'll show you the other main one that we got sent. This one here, which actually I haven't managed to get working yet because I believe they've sent a faulty power supply. I'm hoping it's the power supply and not the unit itself, because I've got lots of power supplies here and I'm sure one will fit it. The Hercules T7, which is a DJ controller with motorized platters, which is a lot cheaper than, say, the Rev 7, which is the Pioneer DJ kind of 2-deck controller that's got motorized platters, right? So I had this and the Traktor one, and actually I've got to be honest with you, I'm far more excited about the Traktor unit than I am about the Hercules unit. Hercules is a Me Too cheaper version of something that's already out there, but they've thought about this, and it might just look like a replacement for the old one, but it's more than that because of the screens, because of the lighting, because of the built-in modes that you can switch instantly to mixer without having to worry about mappings, and because of the extra stuff they've put in the software to support it. It demonstrates that for the people who are using Traktor, this is something where the team are kind of behind you and kind of doing something a bit different. And more important than that, it's based on what the users were asking for. It's not another, you know, remixed X or DJ controller that had everyone scratching their heads, and with the best of the best of goodwill towards Native Instruments, they have kind of made steps like that in the past where it feels like they haven't been looking at what people wanted, and now I think with this unit they are, and I'm more excited about this than I am about just another DJ controller. No offense to Hercules, lots of people will buy that, I'm sure, and I will review it as soon as I can get it working. But that brings me on to the final thing I want to say about the X1, which is, it's a great little unit, but Traktor software is lacking in quite a few ways and has been for years. I'm not going to go into it. If you're a Traktor user, I'm preaching to people who already know exactly what I'm talking about. The Traktor software misses some things that are pretty much standard in DJ software nowadays. Yes, it's got great effects. Yes, it's got great sound quality. Yes, it's got lovely looping and tight beat gridding and all that stuff. But it hasn't got flexible beat gridding, which means you can't use it with music that's not electronic and use the sync button effectively. It hasn't got real-time stems. Just to name 2 things there, it has to get up to date with the competition if hardware like this is to attract new people to the platform. Frankly, I think you'd be mad to be joining Traktor as a new user today when other software can do so much more. They've promised those things that I just said. They've already promised them. It's not like they don't know what I just said, but they are glacially slow in making these things happen. So come on Traktor, bring the software up to date. This hardware is cool, we like it. So there's a full written review of this on the Digital DJ Tips website. I am doing what I just did in the Thursday Q&A slot in our school, which means that on Twitch, YouTube and Facebook, we have hundreds and hundreds of people not only watching, but also commenting. So for the rest of this live show, we will be answering your questions not only on Traktor, not only on the new X1, but on anything else you want to talk about. So I'm going to throw open the lines now and we're just going to chat DJing for the next half hour or so. If you're watching the replay, hang on, you might find something that is useful to you. But if you are waiting for more info about these units, unless you want to hear questions people are asking, you've seen what you need to see, and I hope you found it useful. Again, click below to see the review. Okay, guys and girls, I'm back. It's lovely to be back. I do miss these things, although our summer holidays were wonderful. Let's open the chat and see how I can help you today. Any questions that you want to ask, they don't have to be about what we've talked about so far. This is from Keshia, who is in the Windy City, of course, over there stateside. Hello, Keshia. Hello to John Roback and Birchie. Hello to Kevin and Shine Recordings. Hello to Leekso, who says, glad you're covering this. Do you think this is the start of new gear for Traktor, a new S8 or maybe a new S4? You know, I don't really think that it needs new hardware. I think the Traktor Kontrol S4 and the S3 and the S2 are still highly relevant controllers. It's all about the software. If they can get the software to work better, if they can add the things that are missing, I think the hardware they've got is perfectly fine, frankly. I mean, the hardware's all got nice screens on it. It's nice hardware. In all honesty, DJ controllers have not advanced and don't need to advance in many, many years. They do what they have to do. A DJ controller is effectively a replacement for the keyboard on your laptop. Everything your software can do, you can do on the keyboard. It's just nowhere near as much fun. So this is a bunch of buttons to make what I just described easier. That's all it is, and it hasn't really changed much in many years. So yes, they might be coming up with extra hardware as well, but for me, the exciting thing is that they're going to be, hopefully, doing those things in the software soon. But who knows, maybe there is more hardware coming. Hello to You Don't Like My Music, my friend, nice to see you, who says, howdy gangsters. Hello to Sarah, again, lovely to see you, Sarah, I hope you're well. Who says, hi Phil, welcome back from your holidays. I've recently noticed a new problem with songs I've brought from the Apple Music Store. For some of them, instead of getting an MP3 file, I'm finding the file is in a different format which will only play within the Apple Music app, so I can't put it into my DJ software. There's no sign in the app to let me know before I buy which songs are in this unusable format. This is not just a problem with old songs from the 2000s, which might have had old copyright protection, says Sarah. There are some new ones as well. Am I missing something, or is Apple being naughty? I think that you are getting confused, and I think this isn't a problem, and I think you can get to the bottom of it quite easily, Sarah. Apple's music many years ago was protected even if you bought it. So that means that it did have copyright protection. And I think they used to be called M4A. So if you looked at the file, it would be file name .m4a. But they are no longer being sold and haven't been sold for, I don't know, a decade or something. Apple's files are sold in a format which is called AAC, not MP3, and they have been for a long time. So you've probably never been buying MP3s from Apple. They've probably always been AAC files, Sarah. They certainly will be if you buy them now. So go and look at all the stuff you've bought recently. You're probably going to find they're all AAC files, which are I think they are .AAC. I'm struggling to remember now because I always clam up when I'm on live shows. But anyway, the point is they are not going to be .mp3 because Apple don't sell those. But that doesn't matter because they work in all DJ software and on all DJ systems. I think maybe if you are a subscriber to Apple Music, as in the Apple Music streaming platform, which is the same as Spotify or whatever, then they will never play in your DJ software. And if you're accidentally somehow finding those and trying to play those, they won't work. But anything you buy should work absolutely fine. So just have another look at that, because I've never seen that problem that you've described, and I don't believe it is a problem. I think maybe there's just something that's confusing you a bit there, Sarah. But let's know how you get on. I'd love to help if that, if you don't get to the bottom of it yourself. DJ QL, I'm thinking of buying one of these. Yeah, it's been received really well. So I want one of these, says Shaman, for a travel setup of 4 decks, 4 effects. 2 of these equals 1.5 kilograms. And then 1K2 equals 1 kilogram. So that's 2.5 kilograms for 4 decks in a backpack in cabin luggage. Look, however you assemble a Traktor setup using hardware like this, one of the brilliant, or any DJ setup, one of the brilliant things is that you can chuck it in cabin luggage, right? It is just so much fun to have a DJ setup that doesn't need you to stick it in the hold. I remember years ago, back when this was how we DJ'd, the DJs would arrive at the airport, they would throw, this is actually my old DJ box from back then, my old record box, they would throw their records into the hold of the plane, and then you would spend the whole flight worried sick that those records weren't going to come out the other end, because look, your records are your livelihood, right? So not having, and it's the same with DJ gear, you don't want that being thrown around in the hold. But what I think and why I like this kind of setup, if you can think beyond the 2 decks and a mixer setup, why I like this kind of setup is, let's look at something like this. By the way, I'm not bad mouthing this, these are really nice little controllers. This is a Reloop Buddy. It is a little DJ controller. It's designed for iPads and iPhones and so on. They clip in the back. It's got a nice little shelf at the back, a nice little stand that will hold your screen, which could be an iPad, it could be an iPad Pro, whatever. You plug it in, or a laptop, of course. Your laptop will just be to one side. And you get control over much of what your software can do, including dinky little jog wheels. But here's the thing. Try and explain to you what I mean. If I was DJing here, on this Pro gear, my shoulders would be back, my arms would be out, I would, in short, be enjoying myself, I'd be spread out, I wouldn't be hunching. If you're DJing on something like this, you are literally, it's worse than using a keyboard. You are trying to press that, then your fingers are in the way there, and the jog wheels are very tiny, and you're hunched over the thing like this to do it. I actually find it to be no fun DJing on a DJ controller that has been shrunk. I just don't like it. Personally, I'm speaking for myself. Probably it's all right if you're practicing or preparing your DJ sets. And of course, if you live in one of those little Japanese micro houses that the size of a shoebox, hey, you're going to have to make some compromises in the DJ gear you have. But for me, that is a far better compromise. Say, look, I'm going to live without the decks. I'm going to use the sync button. I'm going to beat grid my tracks properly. But at least the controls you do have are full-sized, and you're not finding yourself, missing the controller and hitting something else. It's been designed so that your hands are more likely to be able to use it with muscle memory without kind of tripping over yourself. So I prefer this kind of smaller setup, and you still have the advantage of it fitting in a cabin bag when you go on a plane. So thanks for that, Shaman. Hello to Mixmaster G, who points out that the Audio 2 is also usable on iOS with Algorithm DJ. Yes, it is usable on iOS. It plugs in, it's class compliant with any iOS device, so you can plug it in. Even though it's a micro USB at the back, it will still plug in just fine to iOS devices. And in fact, I've also used it that way. It's a lovely little audio interface. Does anyone remember the PC, I think it was PCMCIA, was that the acronym? Basically, there were little audio interfaces that plugged into a slot on the side of your laptop, and I used to have one by a company called Echo Audio. It literally plugged into the laptop, so I would be DJing away there with this little thing plugged in, and it was then part of the laptop, and it had a little socket for your speakers and a little socket for your headphones. It was almost like one of these that slotted into the laptop. That was a dream for me, because I could have a laptop that literally I could DJ from with a keyboard mapping, but have really high quality audio, stereo audio to my headphones and my speakers. But they don't make laptops with those slots on them anymore, so they kind of died out. This is fantastic news, says Jose. X1 Mark III, and all the best from Portugal. Hello, Jose, over there in Portugal, not so far from us here. So this is from, again, from Shemen, who says, what are your thoughts on live stem separation for Traktor and for Traktor's future? Any faith in them that this is going to come out? Is iZotope any good? So Traktor, Native Instruments, iZotope, all under one banner, all under one umbrella now, which means that Traktor and the Traktor developers have in theory got access to the engineers and the algorithms of iZotope, and iZotope have got some fantastic audio separation software in their standalone packages that you can buy for audio manipulation. So hopefully, hopefully that will help them to add it to their software. You know, they need to do a good job when it comes, because Serato and Virtual DJ have done a good job. So my thoughts, it might come, but I want to see it. I really do want to see it, because they do a lot of talking. Right, so Shine Recordings. It would be more intuitive if the start and cue buttons were given more prominence on this controller. It's just surprising that DJs like Chris Liebing and Richie Hawtin didn't have a say in the design. Well, you don't know that they didn't. What they decided to do on the design is put the play and sync buttons down here. So you've got play, pause and sync down here, and the cue button is directly above. So it's not really too far away. But the reason for that, I'm going to guess, is that they realized that, look, if you're going to be DJing without any decks, then a sync button is very useful, and if it starts to slip, a quick tap will pull it back. That said, you do get nudge buttons. These buttons here can be used to quickly nudge forward and back on the tracks. But yeah, good point there. Thank you for sharing that. Kevin says, I noticed that a number of DJs like Carl Cox and Kink perform hybrid mixes with modular synthesizers. I'm guessing these kind of gadgets are ideal for that. Exactly. If you're starting to build a hybrid DJ setup and you want to plug in other stuff and it needs USB power, it needs to get to the computer in order for you to control it or to feed audio to and from it, then it's absolutely brilliant. Look, I've got a little synthesizer, a little sequencer and sampler here, the little black box by 1010 Music. This is a lovely, whoops, that's the one I wanted to show you. This is a lovely little device. It's got a little touch screen, and it's a great way of triggering samples and running drum loops that you've programmed yourself. Look, this can be plugged directly into your back of here, because they both got USBs, and this is now a USB hub, straight into the computer, and you're ready to go. You've got an audio out there to whatever you're using to mix this stuff together. And as you say, there's all kinds of other things as well. People who use things like the SP404 Mark II, little Roland sampler, plugging into DJ gear. Look, these are the kind of examples of stuff that you might want to plug into a setup where it doesn't really make sense to have it alongside a big controller, because you're using different things for different purposes, and then plugging it all together how it suits you. By the way, this had a really good firmware update recently that's really improved on how it works. It's a great little sampler if you know when it comes to the Roland SP404. But this has also got a DJ mode, so you can do what we were talking about here and convert it into like a complete DJ mixer and put whole tracks on it and stuff. Anyway, we are diverging. We're moving away from what we were talking about. Let's kind of pull back to your questions then. A lot of DJs, says, you don't like my music, don't even use their crossfader. Well, that's true. They leave it in the middle and use their line faders instead. That's true. So yeah, you don't need a crossfader on something like this for those reasons. And of course, if you're just using this to control the transport and the effects and so on Traktor, then you'd have a mixer anyway with all those faders on. But if you are using it in mixer mode, yep, there's no crossfader. That's your crossfader to the left looks like that, your crossfader in the middle looks like that, and your crossfader to the right looks like that. I've got the F1, X1 and Z1, says Sophist. So you are definitely the target audience for this. So Michael says, Michael Mixmaster G and You Don't Like My Music are all chatting away happily in the YouTube comments there. It's always good to see this, as I always say. I can't see the master button, says Shine Recordings. In the absence of a master button, I'm perplexed. It's crucial for determining the master deck on the fly. I don't know, haven't had time to dig that deep, but yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Right, so let's grab one or two more questions that maybe aren't about the Traktor unit, just to maybe end off on Traktor. Mixmaster G says, Traktor promised us 5 years ago exciting new hardware and much needed updates. Flex grids, flexible beat grids, cues with selectable colors, etc., etc. And I think your undercurrent there, Mixmaster G, is it ain't happened yet. And I agree. Come on, Traktor. We're losing faith. Pull your finger out. Good hardware is not enough. You need the software as well. Paul says, is your audiobook Rock the DJ available to purchase on the Spotify audiobook store? I actually don't know, because that's down to Rethink Press, who are the publishers of this. This is available as an audiobook, so I know it's on the iBooks or Apple's audiobook store. I know it's on Audible. It's also available as a Kindle book, and again, it's on the Apple Books app as well, and it's also available in bookshops, and so that means you can buy it on Amazon as a book. But is it on Spotify? I don't know. Is the answer to that? You'd have to have a look. You'd think I would, wouldn't you? But hey, you can't know everything. You can't know everything. So John says, Phil, what setup would you recommend for someone who has no sight? It's so frustrating to find equipment I can use. I feel like giving up. Well, firstly, I completely sympathise with you. It's a definite challenge. There are plenty of blind DJs out there doing it though. One thing I can tell you, and what setup can I recommend? I wouldn't pretend that I know the best way of doing it, but what I can tell you is that this has been designed with accessibility in mind. There's actually Braille on the buttons, which I think is a really nice thought. So there's a bit of good news for you there, John. Good luck with your system and your setup. My Traktor S4, says DJ QL, seems to be all I need for now, so I'm not sure why I'd need that. Well, you probably wouldn't know. Your S4 is a replacement for that and then some. Carlo says, hi Phil, I see in the promo email for your DJ course that there's a track list. Are the songs included in the course, or do I need to buy them separately? Okay, let's talk about, because we're a DJ school, as you know, let's talk about how music works in our DJ courses. So the courses that we sell don't give you music, because to give you music would be to break copyright. There are very unscrupulous DJ tutors online who will say, hey, buy my course and get my music pack. They are packaging up music illegally and giving it to you illegally. It's illegal for you to have that, use it and play it. We can't do that. We won't do that. We're a reputable school. That said, for our more recent courses, we've started putting playlists in there that work with Tidal. And the reason we do that is all DJ software has Tidal as an option. So you don't get Spotify, unfortunately, you don't get Apple Music, but you do get Tidal, which is kind of the equivalent of Spotify and Apple Music. You also get Beatport, BeatSource and SoundCloud in most DJ software. And so we figured that if we gave you a Tidal playlist, then you'd be able to play along with a Tidal subscription, of course, or a month's free Tidal, which you can get by just signing up, and at least get the music that way. We also give you links to the files if we haven't used Tidal, because we only started doing that quite recently, so you can go and buy the music. But look, our job as a DJ school is to teach you to DJ with your music. You know, DJing is 80% about the music and the programming. What tracks you've got, what order you put them in. It's not up for us. It's not for us to say to you, these are the tracks you need to DJ with, because that changes in every neighborhood, in every town, in every age group, in front of every crowd. That's your job. Our job is to show you how to do it. And in fact, quite interestingly, we've recently partnered with a company called Master Sound. Now, Master Mix, that's a Freudian slip. Freudian? Possibly Freudian. Anyway, it's definitely a slip that I've been making ever since we partnered with these fantastic guys. Master Sound is a fantastic mixer maker in Stockport, England. Master Mix is a fantastic music provider. We've partnered with Master Mix because they have royalty-free music that is absolutely brilliant. So that means that we can do videos on YouTube and we can do videos in our courses showing you how to DJ with music that is free of royalty. And Master Mix are giving us this music to give to you in our courses. So going forward, you're going to see more free music in the courses. But we always give you a link to where you can buy the tracks that you need to do it anyway. But as I say, it's not really about us giving you the music. That's your job. Our job is to show you what to do with the music once you've got it. Thanks for the question. Right, so this is from Eddie, who's just saying hello, and it's worth saying hello back to you, Eddie, because you're in Australia, and I know it's very late over there in Australia, so good on you. So this is from a few of you helping out Sarah. So John is saying you can convert your AAC files into MP3s in iTunes if you want, and you can, although I wouldn't recommend it because they're just going to get slightly reduced in quality, and there's no need to. And the reason there's no need to has been made clear by Alan, who says the only software I know where AAC doesn't work is Audacity. You have to use a converter. And indeed, Audacity won't work with any file apart from WAV. You need to use converters to import and output an output in Audacity for everything because it processes your tracks as uncompressed WAVs. But all DJ software will work with that. Shaman says, gone are the days when I arrived with a record box and a DJM 900 in a backpack. Yes, good riddance to those days, I say. My back couldn't deal with it. Mind you, I carried a Technics 1210 all the way home today from the studio here under my arm. I felt like I'd stepped back in time. You always feel really proud walking down the street with DJ gear, don't you? I mean, you don't want your promo shots to be you holding a mixer. Hey, look at me. Or you like this, you know. You don't want your promo shots to be like that, but I've got to say, you do feel really special walking down the street carrying DJ gear, don't you? Like this. And sometimes you get someone giving you a knowing nod. Yeah, so I had a Technics 1210 under my arm today. I was taking a turntable home to test a hi-fi setup that we've got there, and I wanted to get some vinyl into it. So yeah, I was carrying heavy old-fashioned DJ gear around earlier today. But I agree with you that those days are long gone, and as a way of life, carrying heavy stuff around, I don't miss it at all. I would like to practice my cutting, my scratching on the road, but without vinyl and needles, says Stefan. And in that case, this kind of thing really is good, you know, because you can easily scratch on these little jog wheels. And, you know, this controller here, not this one, because this one is for the iPad software, but this one here, which is for Serato, the Reloop Ready, was actually designed by DJ Angelo, who is our tutor, who's got DJ Angelo's course, which you'll find over in our courses page. And he designed that controller specifically so he could practice full routines on his, on his travels without having to have a full setup with him. So for him, the thing I don't like, which is this, he's actually like, well, look, I need to practice, so I'll put up with that. I wouldn't want to perform on it, but I'll put up with it for practicing. So, Stefan, that's definitely the same kind of thinking that you've got there from Angelo. So I think, people, we're going to end off with Noemi's comment. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Question, brother, over there on YouTube. So Noemi says, I'm a complete beginner here. What are your thoughts on mixed in key? I still struggle to figure out the energy level of tracks, so I wonder if that feature would be useful. So mixed in key is a piece of software that has been around for a long time, and mixed in key originally figured out the key of your music and then allowed you to import that into your DJ software so you could mix in key. Harmonic mixing, great way of mixing. However, since several years ago, mixed in key has actually been built in to DJ software, or rather the equivalent has been built into DJ software. So you don't need to go through the process of running your music through this software and then finding out its musical key in order to mix in key, because DJ software will do it for you. So really the whole reason for mixed in key existing kind of got taken away. The carpet got pulled from under its feet. Mixed in key kind of responded by adding in extra features, and two of the features that added in were automatic cue points, and you can see on this screenshot here where I'm hovering, there's cue points here being added by mixed in key where it attempts to decide where the drop is or the beginning or the outro or whatever. And also it would add what they called energy level. And it's probably a bit small for you to see, but down here we've got energy level. An energy level is like a number between, I don't know, 1 and 7 or 1 and 8 or something, or 1 and 10, where it tries to decide how energetic that track is to give you an idea about how to mix. So for instance, if you were doing a warm-up, maybe you'd play energy level 2 or 3 or 4. And if you were playing later on, you'd play energy level 7, 8 or 9 or whatever. I'm not a fan of either of those things. I think your cue points are very personal to you and you should be adding them to your tracks depending on where you want them. And the energy level of a track is not hard to do. To me, energy level is a 5-point thing. So energy level 1, lying on a beach lounger with a pina colada, what music's playing? That's energy level 1 music. Energy level 2 music, people are just walking into a nightclub. They're just getting their coats off. It's still a bit cold. Giving them to the, the coat person. Buying their first drink. Trying to decide if they want to be there or not. That's energy level 2 music. It's setting a scene. It's not trying to pack or even hold people on a dance floor. It's just starting to get feet tapping, heads nodding. I'm in the right place. Loving it. Energy level 3, it's neither too intense or too laid back. It's just filler. It's just keeping people there. If you've got a full dance floor, they'll stay there. If you've got an empty dance floor, it probably won't fill it. Or rather, it won't fill it like everyone legging it to the dance floor at once. Gotta dance to this one. I love it. It's your bread and butter. It's your middle of the road, danceable, not going too mad type music. 4 is your anthems. 4 are the tracks that will get people quickly on the dance floor. And 5 are the ones that if you played more than 3 or 4 of them on the trot, people would leave the dance floor because they'd run out of energy, because they are those really special tracks that you save and you only play 2 or 3 in the night. But look, the thing with this is, whether those tracks are a 5 or a 4, for instance, or even a 3 sometimes, depends upon the place and the time. Because if that track is a huge hit right now and it's the one song that everyone's been singing all week, world over, when you play it, it's going to do the energy thing and raise the energy in the room hugely. It might not do that because it happens to have something that mixed in key could have picked up on. You know, I remember when songs that are really pretty low energy, so I'm thinking like, what am I thinking about? Remember Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People? Was it Foster the People? Or Portugal the Man, that track by Portugal the Man, that total earworm. They weren't the most energetic tracks in the world. They weren't like pumping EDM. But there was a point in time where you drop that track, it would fill any dance floor. So this is the kind of cultural thing. This is the time and the place that you can't replicate by having an energy level thing run through mixed in key. So to me, look, go for 5 levels of energy and just stick, use the comment column in your DJ software and just cut and paste the little star emoji into the comment column. 1 star means, ambient, laid back, hardly got a beat. 2 stars, really laid back, groovy, nothing else. 3 stars, middle of the road, you can dance to it, good. It will keep people on a dance floor. 4 stars, big tunes. 5 stars, the biggest ever, and you won't go too far wrong. Don't worry about it, and those numbers might change. So no, in answer to your question, I wouldn't rely on either mixed in keys, cues, or its energy. People, I have to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to have you here, whether you are on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch today. Remember, we do these shows every single week on a Tuesday or a Thursday, 3 p.m. London, 10 a.m. Eastern. Also, remember, we are the world's biggest DJ school, and if you want to join us, if you want to be our latest free member, you want to get a copy of our book, then head over to Digital DJ Tips, click join at the top, pop your email address in there, and we will sign you up to our mailing list where you and 150,000 other DJs come to learn about DJing week in, week out. It's been a pleasure doing this. It always is. Get good, get out there, make the moments, and I will see you same time next week. Till then, bye-bye.